probably don't need to. Hello and welcome to Slam Fire Radio. This is episode 261 for June 14th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Adriel Michaud.
I'm another one of your hosts, Kaylee Lynn.
And I'm one of your hosts, Brian Bolivar.
And we're missing a host right now.
Again.
Yeah. And he was supposed to be on too this week.
He was supposed to be on, but the way I heard it, he was at a casino all night and he still had money left over to play with this morning. So he was just
he's
out
doing
all.
It wrong.
Yeah,
it's true. He's doing it wrong if he's got money.
Yeah.
Listen. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and we'll just leave it at that. We don't need to talk about his gambling addiction. That's not something that needs to come out in the show.
We don't need to gossip about his gambling addiction on the air.
No, because that would be hurtful.
There's help for you. There's programs for that.
There are programs. Many of them are 12 steps, and the first one is admitting you have a problem, or having your friends out you on a podcast.
Very good, very good. All right. What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Centre, Canada's premier firearms retailer. Right now, they have the Marlin 1894C in .357. It's blued and it goes for $8.99. Brian, what did you do in guns this week?
I did a little, not a lot, a little. So like I talked about last week, I got together with a buddy of mine who actually is staff member up at EPS. And he has a lab radar, the fancy radar for measuring bullet speed and stuff.
Okay.
So he let me borrow that to test my loads for my service rifle. And I got numbers that were not as far off from my shooting crony as I thought, but I have more faith in these numbers. So I can do my ballistic drop and wind charts now. Interestingly enough, the lab radar worked really good with his 6 mil or 6.5 mil rifle. Right. But the 22 diameter bullets, it struggled with seeing them. So I didn't get velocity readings on every round I fired. But anyway, I've got enough data that I'm confident enough. Also, while I was doing that, I also zeroed that rifle off the mags as opposed to the bench because it's never the same zero. And that also led me to confirming I need to get back to doing some dry fire because, wow, even in prone, off the mag, my hold was wobbly all over the place. So I need to get back to doing some fundamental stuff, and dry fire is the cheapest way to do that. So I will get back to that when I have time. Because
I got a question for you for your dry fire. Your dry fire, do you rack it and then hear a click every time, or do you let it out and then just pull as if you were pulling against a live trigger?
No, I rack it every time. Because I want to feel that trigger break as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. It's unfortunate that one has to do that, but that's the way it is. If I was smart, I'd invent a bolt that resets the trigger for you electrically.
A rod? A dowel down the barrel and just go against like a brick or something and then pull a trigger?
You could, except I really need to be further away from a target. It would have to be a really long rod. It would have to be put
it low. Put a brick on the ground and put a dowel in your barrel and just ram it every once in a while, and that'll rack the bolt back.
I will think about that and get back to you. Yeah.
Adriel,
sounds so ghetto.
He's not thinking of it at all.
It is, but there's been some crazy ideas in the past. There was this guy named Albert Einstein, and he submitted something about a theory of relativity, and some doctor that he submitted it to thought it was just fantasy and not science. Turns out it kind of worked.
What about an AR bolt that resets the hammer?
That's what I mean.
A little extra electrical actuator
really
on the back there. Beep, beep, and just punch
that's
the hammer
exactly
down.
what it would. Yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind.
Brian, you're not Albert Einstein, though, right?
What are you trying to say?
You're cute. That's all I'm saying.
Calling someone Einstein is almost always an insult. You ever realize that?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think what Kelly is saying is I don't have the IQ of Einstein, so probably something I think is crazy is less likely to be brilliant.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm giving you a hard time.
I have no. Yes, I've noticed that. That's okay. Whatever it is. That's how we roll. The other thing I did. I remember I mentioned about testing brakes versus comps, and
Yep.
I had been running the Matador Arms flare stack, and I was noticing a lot of muzzle wobble when I shot, muzzle rise and stuff. So I did a little testing and threw an actual brake on the gun, and yeah, it stopped moving when I shot it. So yeah, the flare stack's not going to work in my particular application. However, I happen to know that Matador Arms makes a hammerhead brake, and apparently after talking with awesome people at Matador, there's a brake on its way. So
Who's your favorite at Matador?
Anika is definitely
Really?
my favorite. She so rocks.
No
Yeah.
one's pretty nice too. I like her.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she nice
I'm
enough
sure.
to send us a couple of sidewinders? Possible.
I don't know. I would think again that someone who does really good YouTube type video reviews or Pornhub video reviews or wherever you're allowed to still
Or
post them
both.
or both.
Rare cat that would be.
Yeah. So I think it would be a great way to get the word out about that particular product.
I think
They
it's
have-
a good
yeah.
idea.
Yeah, like sending it to me would be a waste of time because I have no interest in a folding stock and I don't do videos. But I know a guy who does pretty decent videos. So
Who is it?
maybe.
I do like
Oh, it's
terrible
Matthew.
videos. Yeah,
Matthew.
Matthew's videos are excellent.
Yeah.
Multiple
wait.
angles.
But they're all up in a
voiceover.
plane, and probably that's not the venue for testing the Sidewinder. That wouldn't
Probably
really put
not.
the focus on the product.
Well, aren't a lot of paratrooper rifles like folding stock? Maybe
That's
the
true.
airplane is the right choice for this.
But he'd have to
That's
jump
true.
out of the plane.
I'm okay with that. This is a win-win. I'm all good.
Oh, poor Matthew.
Well,
Adriel,
he
I
didn't
think
show
he's
up, so
suggesting that you should be doing it.
I'm perhaps suggesting that Anika, when she listens to this, should send you a Sidewinder so you can do a review because you're actually excited about the Sidewinder. Like a whole
Oh yeah,
bunch.
it'll go on my WK 180 perfectly
Perfect.
Yeah.
because it doesn't need the buffer. It just uses the tube because that's common, and why not fold it?
Yes,
Why not?
and actually, that being said, I mean, I've never really found the need for a folder. The one rifle I had that had a folder was my PAR, but that folding stock was also excessively narrow, like really, really tiny, and I didn't like the stock. Period. If it had a conventional buffer tube and I could put whatever Magpul stock on it I wanted, it would have been great to be folded. So yeah, why not be? You know, have it like that. So yeah, I think Matador Arms should send you one of those. Yeah. Huh.
I'll get around to asking. Maybe when it gets closer to get the WK in.
Yes, that's true. You should have a platform to put it on.
I was just going to ask, have you got an update on that at all?
I was talking with Tyson from Wolverine last night before,
Okay.
Tuesday night. We were on the Canada Guns talk show, and he was on, and he was talking about the utility rifle and the WK 180 and that kind of thing. And they are getting some prototypes. They're probably at Wolverine now. They were getting like 10 prototype guns that were like, this is what production is going to look like. So make your final changes and let's start shipping these things out. So I'd imagine, like, I have no idea when mine's going to come out, but in a month or something like that. I don't know. My AR is running good now, so I'm not in a hurry, and it's not like there's a whole lot of coyote action happening right now, so I can wait.
Wow, did you ever just shoot yourself in the foot? Because I was just going to say, hey, you are a famous podcaster. You should be like slid up the list, but probably they don't do that. So
if they did, I would not talk about it on the podcast.
That's true. Okay, so now that you have totally cut me off and taken over the segment where I talked about what I do in guns, Adriel, would you like to talk about what you do in guns?
I kind of forgot which segment we were on anyway, so we're talking about yours, mine. Am I supposed to be? What's my thing next? I don't know. So that's it. That's all you did in guns this week?
Yeah, go ahead and talk about what you did now.
All right. I went to a 3-gun match in Cold Lake. So Cold Lake was running a match, and I wanted to make it out to at least one of their matches this year. So I headed out there. That's the Lakeland 3-gun group out of there. Couple of listeners out of there. One, Andrew, is actually, he was asking me, he's going to be setting up your maple seed in Lethbridge, Lloydminster, one of those two. I forget.
Because
Lloydminster.
we're not going to Lethbridge, so.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, maybe we're.
Maybe you are.
I don't know.
No.
We keep booking. Lloydminster.
Yeah. Anyways, I was talking with Andrew from there. It's one of the cool things about talking with listeners is that they know all your stuff and they're super. One of the things I
stalkery-ish
was interesting. What's that?
Stalkery-ish.
No. So when I listened to Slamfire Radio and I wasn't a host, it was very easy for me to like get on and guess because I knew how people talked and how they operated. So when you talk with listeners, it's weird. They can instantly start talking with you, just like a buddy kind of a thing. So which is really cool. One of the downsides, every time you get into a story, they already know. They've already heard it. So I was talking about like, I think I'm gonna run my blog for this thing, and they're like, yeah, we know. Yeah. Oh man, what am I supposed to talk about here?
But it's really cool. They come up to you and say, hey, Adriel. And
they pronounce my name right, and it's like,
woohoo! It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Some people know this, but when I go to a restaurant where you have to like put a name on there, I'll put Bueller because it's easier to pronounce and no one will mess it up. And because it's funny, it makes me smile every time I get to do it. Anyway, so I shot with a bunch of guys in Cold Lake. It was a cool little match. We didn't get a ton of attendance because there was a threat of a tornado, and there was a tornado, not on the range or anything like that, but supposedly there was one that touched down in St. Paul, which is not too far away. And that was later on in the day. Like, there's lots of time to get in a match way before then. So, it was good. This was my dry run with the Shadow 2. It ran just fine. I am going to run my Glock 34 for the Battle of Alberta 2-day match because it's coming up quick here. And I haven't had enough trigger time on that Shadow 2 to feel super confident with it. I don't want to say DQ with a Shadow 2 jumping out of my holster. They have a tendency to do that. They don't like living in the holster. They like living on the ground, I think. And
they like to be used, not holstered.
Yeah. If they're not in the holster, if they're not in your hands, they will just want to be on the ground. They're so heavy. They just want to be like, it's the gravity thing.
And
it's more proof that they're really not a production gun. They're really kind of a custom competition gun. They're not really in the spirit of production guns, in my opinion. But anyway.
No, it's a 3-pound gun, and
they're
great
heavy.
to shoot, fantastic to shoot.
All
that weight, it just holds it right on target. But it's very heavy, and I had to like really ratcheted down the locks on my holster, and it made for like a real kind of a catchy kind of a draw on it. So I'm gonna run the Glock 34 for the 2-day match because I believe it'll be more reliable and more like what I know. Let's see here. I was going to shoot gophers on Sunday, but we had like that crazy tornado storm come through, and then basically it just didn't stop raining for days. So no gophers. No gophers. I did shoot my 17 WSM just to make sure the sight was on, and it's on. But I didn't get to explode any gophers with it, which was kind of disappointing. Would have been nice. Well, I have to wait for another weekend. I bought a Viper PST. So with this WK 180, I wanted a low magnification scope for it, something with better optics than I would have had on some of my other rifles. And I noticed that Tyler was selling a PST 1-4 on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I'll have one of those, please. So that's on the way, and that should be here, I don't know, today or tomorrow, something like that. The Viper PST's got really good optics on it. Like the glass itself is very good. It doesn't come with like a ballistic reticle. I think his was MOA, which is okay. But the optics are very good on it, which if I'm going to use this thing to shoot coyotes in the dusk and that kind of thing, good glass is important. Yeah. If you get hunting and you hunt enough, almost all your shots are right at dusk. And, that's when that crappy scope that's fine during the day and is fine when it's like really bright out and holds 0, but just the glass is crappy is fine. At night when it starts getting dim, that's when they really, really suck. So That's when like some good optics makes a really big difference in just being able to resolve what you're looking at. So that's on the way. The Battle of Alberta, 2-day 3-gun champion in support of the Stollery Children's Hospital is starting tomorrow. So tomorrow the ROs, which I'm in, are going to be setting up the stages and shooting. So I got to do that tomorrow. And then Saturday, Sunday, we're shooting and giving stuff away and doing all that kind of jazz.
Is that at Chaz?
That's at Chaz, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have 70 some shooters come out, and
Nice.
yeah, it should be good. Should be a fun time. We've got like a bigger prize table than I thought we would get. I thought we were like gonna have like 2 sponsors kind of a thing, but it sounds like we're gonna get even more. And yeah, lots of stuff. So should be good. Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting. We're gonna be running 5 bays, I think, on that. So that's the whole range, and it should be a good time. And then finally, I just wanted to just showcase one of the things that we had David on the other week there, and he just mentioned that there's this app called Gunstruction, where you can kind of here, let me just show you guys. We can make like an AR, and that's kind of what you can do with this kind of an app. So this is what he's going to do with his SLR when he gets it in. He's gonna now. This will be the Canadian flag, but the A2 buttstock on the back there. But that's a general look he's going for. So it's kind of cool. You can build a gun.
Yeah.
Take a look at what it's going to look like. See what you like. See if the handguard length's appropriate for you, and all that other kind of thing. Right.
Right. So this is called Gunstruction.
Gunstruction. Apparently, it's an app, and it's pretty easy to use. Well, it has to be easy to use if he's using it, right?
Oh, come on. He's smart.
I'm bugging.
So also not an Einstein, eh? Also not.
You don't have to be any Einstein to make that thing work.
Yeah.
No, but
I think you're still hurting about that one, aren't you?
Not as much as you using the F word a couple episodes ago when I wasn't on.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, Dave's watching the show, so now he's commenting now. Anyways, that's all I did in guns this week. Kelly, what about you?
I spent the weekend in Ottawa at the CCFR AGM. I did not make it to the pre-AGM day at the range because I had to work. I wasn't allowed to leave work. I couldn't leave work. Anyways, but I did make it out to pub night, and that was in Gatineau. We had a great time hanging out with a whole bunch of people that I don't even, well, I have talked to on the internet, but I haven't really talked to them in person or never met in person. Sean Heineman, who is there, he's a show listener and he's been a guest on the show as well. I met him in person. He's amazing, by the way. And also saw Rick Woods, also another guy that's been on our show quite frequently. We all went out, had a great time, had a couple of drinks and some food, but then we went back to Trevor's room and started hanging out there. So he basically had about maybe half a dozen people by the end of it in his room. We were all drinking whiskey and stayed up until 5 a.m. So it was loud, and I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out of the hotel room. But yeah, it was pretty good. The AGM started at 10 a.m. the next morning, so there was a few people who had it was rough for a few people to get there by 10 a.m. And the AGM itself, it had lots of great information, and it was great to meet some more people that I've only ever talked to on the internet as well. The dinner we had at the end of it was really, really good. We had Michelle Rempel and Candice Bergen there, and they were talking. Well, actually, Michelle Rempel was the one that gave the talk on firearms and supporting firearm owners in the house. So it was great. And I got to meet Candice Bergen, as I said, as well. Dave Young was there. He gave a talk, and the talk was basically Dave Young from CAPS, or he's also known as Uncle Dave as well, came up and gave me a big hug and a kiss when I went to the pub night. So it was great to meet him in person as well. But anyways, so at the dinner, he gave a talk about our rights and what they are with respect to protecting ourselves and our loved ones. So it is a really, really good talk that he gave, and it caused some people to think. I was asking people questions before they got to the AGM, or sorry, the dinner, and also afterwards as well. One of the questions I asked to people was, "Do you have a fire plan?" Most people said, "Well, yeah, of course we do." And then I asked them, "Do you have a home invasion plan, or somebody breaks into your house?" And then people were started to think about it, and they're going, "Well, no." And then they really caused them to think, well, why shouldn't I have one? And that's one of the things that Dave said as well. So it was great that he was, confirming what I said. Anyways, the next day we went to the War Museum in Ottawa, and it was pretty amazing. And as we walked in, Trevor says, "I'm going to geek out, and I said, "Yeah, I know, me too." So it was awesome. We stayed until they literally had to walk us out of the place. We went down to where all the tanks and everything were, and by the time we were done, we had people following us and kicking us out. So yeah, what else to do? I just got off the phone with Yolanda, chatted with her for an hour, but Trevor's not here, so he can't be jealous. Other than that, I didn't do much. Yeah, that's about it. All right, Adriel, upcoming events.
We seem to have lost Adriel.
Adriel? Hello? Adriel. We're
Anyway.
why don't we talk about upcoming events, Brian?
I think we should.
Okay.
There are apparently no 3-gun events though, because Adriel's not here. I think 3-gun. I think 3-gun just quit.
What we can do is we can roll back on that. Why don't I take Maple Seed, and then why don't you take Ryan McLean?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Maple Seed, I'm not going to be talking about any events right now. What I'd like to talk about is the limited edition inaugural Project Maple Seed patch that we are putting out. There's only 150 that were made. We're almost sold out of it. We really, really want to finish this out so that we can basically do the draw for a prize that we have. If you purchase the patch, it's $30, but what happens is for each time you purchase a patch, you get entered into a draw for a Chiappa LA322, which is a lever action 22. It's really cool. It's really cute. It was donated by Bang Click of CR64 and Tier 1 Armories. As I said, it's the last push for this. We really want to get all of these sold. As I said, there was only 150 made. There's not going to be any more made. The patch is only $30. And if you would like to purchase one, you can go on to the mapleseedrifleman.com page. Go to the shop, and there's a picture of one. Just click on it and purchase it. And if you do that relatively soon, we'll be able to send out your patch, and then we'll do that draw as well. I know, Brian, you're hoping to win, right?
Yeah, that would be the best possible outcome from my perspective. Well, I mean, what? It would be cool. Whatever. I have a 1 in 150 chance, in theory.
Yes, you do.
At least that's the maximum chance I have. I might have less than that. I don't know.
You have a better chance of winning this than you did with the $60 million. That was the prize for Lotto Max last weekend.
Yeah, okay. If I could pick up the two, guess which one. Anyway, all right. Hey, Meaford Long Range Steel Challenge, sponsored by Tradex Defense, taking place on September 7th and 8th at training area Meaford. Spots are filling fast. For more info and to register, Google the match or find them on Facebook at www.facebook.com at MLRSC.
Just search for it. That's the way to go.
Yeah, it's easy enough. Hey, and hey, the cowboy mounted shooting thing, that's still coming up on the 23rd.
Okay.
And we'll talk about this. Just stop. Anyway. Just a reminder for people, you can check that out. I would again Google that. It's in Owen Sound in Georgian Bluffs. Cost is $400, limited to 10 participants. We went through the details last time. Now, we were talking about Adriel having a stage in a 3-gun match with a mechanical bull.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was at a race last weekend. I did a 5K obstacle race down at Kitchener, and they had a mechanical bull set up for entertainment, and it's all controlled by a guy. So I'm pretty sure you can control how far the bowl
Yeah.
actually rotates. So people would be able to theoretically maintain the 180, Adriel. I think this is feasible.
This is so Albertan. Shooting 3-gun from a mechanical bull.
I know, right? Like, it just couldn't be more Western Canadian. Like, come on, you got to make this happen.
You're a cowboy, and you have to shoot a bunch of targets now with an AR-15.
Aliens. There's a bunch of aliens. You're a cowboy versus aliens. There was a movie like that, right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a documentary about this. Yeah.
There you go. Because otherwise, bad things are going to happen to parts of you. If you don't shoot all these aliens.
And to your cows. You got to protect the cattle, right?
Gotta. Yes. Absolutely. So I make it happen, Adriel. You can do it. Speaking of 3-gun, Adriel, why don't you tell us about upcoming 3-gun matches?
All right.
Please.
Let's see. The Chaz 3-gun match that I was just mentioning there is June 15th to 17th. If you're a regular competitor, don't show up like on the 15th. Show up 16th, 17th. BTSA is going to have their action shooting league Monday nights. Mighty Peace has a 3-gun match on June 23rd. There's going to be a 3-gun match at the Rock Cut June 23rd as well. Lethbridge will be running their 3-gun match June 24th. Lambden will be running one on June 24th as well. Let's see. BTSA will be running their Canada Day 2018 3-gun July 2nd from 8 to 5. Northwest 3-gun will be running their match July 7th. And then Chaz will also have a match on July 7th. So lots of 3-gun coming up, especially in Alberta here. I forgot a couple things about my what I did in guns here. So since I'm the host, I can reverse things. That's
fair.
Then my
okay. Damn, I was going to complain, but yeah, damn. All right,
you can complain.
No, it's
no
not
one's going to
valid.
listen. But
yeah, no, just go.
The shirts are in. Here's what they look like. So
Oh, yeah.
Hey, cool.
Yeah.
As I was saying to Adriel, it's not black, so it's going to keep you cool during the hot summer days. And the logo is very vivid, so that's good. It's slam fire. And
for now, we'll see what happens when it washes.
And it's a polo shirt, and that's about the extent of my positive feedback. That's it.
What, Kelly? Why are you rocking back and forth like a crazy person while you're talking?
Because that's what I do.
Hey, for the listeners, just picture Kelly rocking back and forth.
She's very passionate about her shirts.
I am.
She's apparently passionate about your shirt because you're the only one who's got one.
I like the Matador arms as well there, Brian.
Yeah, I know. I like that. Actually, it's a really nice t-shirt. I really like it a lot. So
yeah,
cool.
I have one as well. I should probably wear it.
I've got like 100 of these. So, yeah.
Well, you should share them, Adriel. You should not be hoarding
substantial shelf room right now. I do want to share them.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're going to be getting those out in the next month or so?
Yeah. I need to figure out how to ship them, and once that's happened, I'm going to start mailing them and bringing them to over there and whatnot. I also got some of these.
Yay!
Check them out. Yeah. Woo. For the listeners who are on the podcast, these are the RCMP guy stickers. RCMP head. What would you describe that facial expression as?
Constipated?
Suspicious, constipated. Okay, yeah, either one of those will work.
Not happy with whatever you're doing. Yeah.
Not happy with whatever you're doing. We've got these that we're going to be giving away at the Chaz match. Yeah, these are kind of like these stickers for the Battle of Alberta.
I need one.
I got some 10-round LAR mags, and I coupled them and duct taped them to make them look neat. And also because these couplers fail sometimes. There's pretty much once a match where someone drops one of these things. They don't have the tape on here. They slide out, and then the rounds and the springs go kind of everywhere. So
you coupled it and then put duct tape on it.
That's correct. There's a coupler in there, and there's duct tape on top to keep it from sliding around.
There's arrows.
And I always use a paint pen on my mags because everyone's running these mags at a match, and I want to make sure that mine are super unique. So the thing I decided to do with these was point an arrow to like bullets go that way, because it's a straight mag, right? It's possible you might try to like ram that thing in backwards. Now there's these handy dandy arrows on it.
That's not the worst idea I've ever heard. Now, have
like Einstein.
Why have you not? Oh, Kelly. Dig up, Kelly. Dig up. Are you going to number them or letter them or somehow identify each individual mag? So yeah,
absolutely.
Because that's something that everybody should do. You should
Well, I
always
thought
have
these were
bags numbered.
stainless, but apparently these are aluminum. And one of the things Trevor was saying was, don't get aluminum ones because you'll drop them on the feed lips and they'll bend, and then you'll have your mags that won't feed anymore. So real risk. I'll just put the numbers on them, and once they start messing up, I'll use a hammer and fix them. I won't throw them away. I'll fix them with a hammer.
And then sell them to somebody you don't like.
I'll fix them good, and I'll just like crush them.
Yeah. Put them on the berm. Shoot them.
Yeah. So I got that, and then something came in from a listener.
All right.
Yeah, this thing came in
Cool.
from a listener.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be doing a review on that, right?
So what? Okay, for the listeners, not the watchers, why don't you explain to them what that is?
Yes, this is a Kam Arms M17S. So Bushmaster had the M17 for a while. It's like an AR15 that's a bullpup, and it had some shortcomings, but some people really liked it. K&M was one of them, and he decided to take them and improve them and eventually start producing them themselves. So Bushmaster no longer makes these, but K&M does, and it's a bullpup AR15. It's really interesting. So bullpup 223 rifles in Canada. We've got the RDB. We've got the Type 97. We've got the Tavor. Is that it?
I think that's it for 5.56.
Yeah, that might be all that's worth talking about. In terms of all those rifles, the trigger is like on most of them. On the Tavor, the trigger is atrocious and typically needs replacing with the $400 trigger pack that they sell, which makes it a lot better. The T97, the trigger isn't too heavy, but it's quite very, very long. And this guy has an Elfman trigger pack pre-installed. So the trigger is fantastic. It's 4 pounds, and it's very short. So it doesn't have the long pull that you would traditionally get with a bullpup. And if I could just show you guys there, boop, it's very, very good. Which again is not something you normally get with a bullpup. It uses a cross bolt safety right in front of the or above the trigger group there. Brian, you'll have to turn your mute off.
That is an interesting design choice to go with a cross bolt safety.
Well, it's quite compact here before it gets to the upper, so they need something that would fit in there, and the cross bolt works. And works.
I would have adjusted the design of the gun to make a flip down safety work. Maybe.
I mean, like some of the interesting things about this rifle, the upper is like one entire extruded aluminum piece, so it's kind of got the same profile the whole way down. And that must make it more inexpensive to make. One of the common things with the original was that was a problem was that they didn't have enough ventilation holes in it, and it would get hot. The fore end would get real hot from the heat from firing. But this guy's got quite a few more ventilation holes in it. It's got a little bit of modularity here with this. You can see a rail on that side, and on this side we've got a QD mount that's been installed.
See, I'm looking at the
listener, Ian.
And I'm thinking they could have put holes where you need your thumb to go for the thumb safety and make that work. You just want the AR safety. You just want the same.
I
do.
AR
and the reason is because it enables it to be fully ambi. The crossbolt becomes not that ambi. So I tend to be not a.
No, this crossbolt's fine. Okay. I can't do it right there, but my thumb can hit it no problem, and my index finger.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh
that's not bad.
Yeah, so you can use this thing quite easily.
My objection. I withdraw my objection.
It's now lefty approved.
It's now lefty. Well, not until you get to the bolt release. Because you know what? It's not lefty approved because try this right here. No. My face is basically kissing the.
Okay, so that was going to be my next
brass
question.
deflector. Yeah, so this is.
That's
maybe if you held your face back, it would be fine.
That's not good.
No. This is going to get brass in the lips right here.
Oh yeah, like that's I feel that in my teeth. The lips are fine. It's having to have my teeth knocked out that's a problem. Yeah. So you can't adjust the ejection to go to the other side.
I mean, why? So it's on the right side right now.
Is it able to be adjusted?
No.
No. No. It's not left.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
Correct. Right from the start. They don't need to modify that kind of thing.
And for right-handed shooters who shoot on the off shoulder for any given reason, then you're going to eat brass. Okay,
Yeah. In terms of the other controls, it's got a standard mag release back here, which I wouldn't personally use. It's just on the right hand side of the gun towards the rear. It's also got one on the left hand, an ambi one. That's the one I would use. So I'd put my mag in, or I would press that button and strip it out. It's also got a paddle for the bolt release right there. So as you insert the magazine, you can hit the top there and head right back. Charging handle is non-reciprocating, and it's spring-loaded. So this is actually, I think, one of the easiest rifles to field strip that I've ever seen, because you just go from pin at the rear, hinges open, bolt and bolt carrier come out. Oh. There's no charging handle in the way. There's nothing. There's your bolt and carrier, and it's all just kind of ready to rock and roll. So quite easy to field strip for takedown, and like, that's fast. That's so fast to disassemble this thing just for a quick field strip and clean kind of a thing. So really cool setup. The fact that it's got such a good trigger on it. This thing, I think they're right around $2,300-$2,400, which is right around what you'd pay for like an X95 or a Total War or something like that. But it's got a fantastic trigger in there. So and also the materials are quite a bit nicer too than some of the other stuff that you'll see out there. Definitely a lot nicer than a T97. T97s are cheaper, of course, but this is the machine work and whatnot is very nice. The charging handle is just fantastic. I just love where it is. That one is reversible, so if you wanted to put it on the other side and catch brass in the teeth all day long, you can do that if you want. But I like that it's on the left-hand side, and feels very good. It's actually a really interesting design. It's kind of like a cup that goes over top the rod that's back here. It uses the AR180 rod with two recoil spring kind of idea, and this charging handle just slides over top or underneath, I can't remember, over top of those rods back there, and is swappable between two sides. So really interesting design, really interesting packaging. It's got like a QD sling swivel cup on the rear on both sides, and then if you turn around and pop one up front, one of the interesting things about that is that you can cross carry this guy, so you can carry it across your chest with a 2-point sling, and it'll be very steady there. So if you're hunting coyotes or something like that, this kind of keeps the gun hanging, and you're not hanging onto it. And then when you need to pull it up, it's quite easy to pull up and get ready to shoot a coyote or a hog or something like that. So a lot of really pragmatic choices, I guess, on it. And I'll shoot it tomorrow.
Is that brass deflector removable? It looks like it's got a screw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's possible you could put a bigger shell deflector on it and
make them kick out a little bit further.
Shell deflector / mouth guard, for lefties.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't, like, one of the things I haven't looked into is how to make it lefty friendly, because I don't care, but
no, that's fair.
Other people might.
Yeah, I know. I
probably won't put it in my review because no one cares, but
Yeah, you can try and hurt me, but I have no soul because I'm left-handed, so there's nothing. No, I'm curious to see how the accuracy is, because that really kind of is the tell. But for that kind of price, it seems like a pretty solid rifle platform. Like,
really interesting. It's got a adjustable gas block on it, so and it's adjustable from the front, I think.
So is it direct impingement or is it piston?
Piston. It uses the AR180 or same thing as the SVT40, like the cup and that kind of thing. And if you look down the middle there, you see that flat. I think it's a flathead screwdriver will adjust the gas block. I think. I haven't messed around with it. I'm gonna take a look on Vidle Online and see some videos before I try to. But I'm pretty sure you can just adjust the gas there. So you could technically like adjust the gas to where it's like really soft recoiling. It's not slamming the rear of the gun, and just use enough gas that you need, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Very interesting, and very interesting at that price point as well. Let's see here. Okay, sorry, back on regular schedule here. I think we're done with the events. Go on to the news. Have you guys watched the stuff about the Liberal government saying that they consulted all these people for C-71? Yeah.
Yep. Secu.
Suck. What'd you say there?
Secu.
Oh, okay.
SECU. Secu.
And what's the story behind this? You would have talked to Tracy at the AGM. Maybe you've got a little bit more on the lowdown on this.
We don't really have that much information on it. Well, Tracy, who we're referring to is Tracy, the lobbyist for the CCFR. She was asked if she was consulted with respect to C-71 before, and she was not. She was not asked about it. What they said, the government said that they consulted all of the people or the organizations that have a vested interest in it to get more information. They didn't actually contact, obviously, the CCFR. And
they put her name on it, though, right?
Yes, they did.
I wonder if they consider that guns and gangs meeting that they did just before the consultation. No?
No, because it's not speaking directly to the C-71, and they had already it had already been drawn up as well. So no.
Well,
so,
I'm not legitimizing it. I'm saying like maybe that's their excuse. Their excuse is, oh yeah, we had this guns and gangs thing, and we consulted all these people, and they're like, is it the guns? Is it the gangs? It's clearly the gangs. Everyone says it's the gangs. Okay.
But C-71 has nothing to do with gangs. There's nothing mentioned about gangs in it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, you can still say you consulted people on something and then just ignored them.
Consulting with somebody doesn't mean that you do anything that they recommend.
Yeah, no, we consulted them, and we already had the legislation drafted up, so we just used it.
Right. But if you are consulting with them, you're actually talking to them about it specifically, but you don't have to actually listen to them. No, right? But
or care or write anything down, or you don't have to do any of that part. Yeah.
But if you say you do, and you say I did consult with this person, and the person says no, you didn't, then that's a problem.
Yeah. I think that's why I think the Conservatives were calling for an explanation on that.
Yeah, a couple of people said. My belief is that there was a few people that said, no, we were never consulted on this. Then, so.
Yeah, take my name off that thing.
Yep.
Anyways, that's interesting in terms of the Canadian politics, but par for the course so far for C-71. It seems like they had that thing drafted up a while ago. Have you guys taken a look at the firearms export control reform that is potentially getting through the States?
Really briefly, but yeah. So basically, it looks like the U.S. is going to reduce their own regulations for exporting firearms and parts and stuff, which is positive. We deal with ITAR up here in Canada, and there's lots of really common stuff that you can't get because of ITAR. It's just silly. I remember I used to have a Savage bolt action in 5.56 or 223 rather, and I couldn't get a 10-round mag because they were ITAR. They were not. The manufacturer did not have an export permit to ship them out of the States. Yeah, that's right. It's a good thing they were restricting people getting a 10-round magazine for a bolt action rifle.
Well, they were restricting, Greg getting a belt, like an actual belt that keeps his pants up.
I don't think that was an ITAR thing. I thought that was a custom thing. Oh, was it ITAR?
Yeah.
Oh.
Was it a tactical belt?
Yes, it was.
I'm sure Greg will pipe up here in the comments.
Yeah.
Only terrorists use tactical belts, so that's
right.
probably
He got the
why.
pants. He didn't get the belt. They said, "Sorry, we can't send him."
And Greg's so skinny, he needs the belt to be down on his knees all the time.
Yeah. No, this is very interesting. It's I think one of the things that causes a lot of the smaller shops in the U.S. to not even want to bother mailing to Canada is we've got ITAR or they've got ITAR. The other thing is a lot of times you'll have to like fill out some sort of end use certificate, even if you do get something that's under that $500 limit. And if they remove that, then it might make it a lot easier for some of these smaller shops to just mail direct and get their stuff in here. I've actually been dealing with a couple of U.S. companies where it's like, yeah, I really want to buy this thing. And they're like, we don't ship to Canada. It's like, do you have a dealer up here? Yeah, we have a dealer. And I talked to those guys and like, they don't have what I want. It's like, oh man,
yeah,
I just want to buy this thing. Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to buy it. Is that so wrong?
Yep.
All
That
right.
this could be really
Well,
interesting.
it'll open up stuff like comes to mind Optics Planet for us. We'll be able to shop there
Yeah.
because they don't have a license. They don't ship anything out because there's ITAR restrictions on anything with magnification over 4 right now. So
Yeah.
it's problematic.
Greg says, yeah, it was a tactical TDU belt. They wouldn't send it. It's ITAR restricted. Like, really? Come on.
Yep. Can't have
But
that
we
going
all
on.
want Greg's pants to stay up. Trust me. It's not even a thing.
Well, he does wear kilts, so.
Yeah.
We also want that to stay up.
All right.
All right. The next piece here, Wolverine sent out their brief that they actually shared it on CGN, their brief out on C71, which is interesting, and the government will ignore it, even though they put all this effort into making a really good one. The government probably won't pay much attention to that, but it does show that their heart's in the right place, and they're trying to fight for our rights.
Yeah, and they went and testified. It was awesome.
Yep, and they testified, and yeah, that's really good seeing those guys do that. New gun stuff. I don't think I put this one in here.
No, I threw this one in because it showed up on Facebook yesterday. Tradex got a shipment in of Yugo SKSs, sort of the holy grail of SKSs.
Is there a holy grail of SKSs?
Yeah,
I don't think the two words should go into like
it's the
sentence together.
I just said it. No, I've declared it. It's the holy grail of SKSs, and apparently Tradex thinks they are too because they're like $800.
Yeah.
So that's
remember last week
I would
talking about the ones that you got 3 of them for 600. So
yeah.
$200 piece. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
It's for a collector. They are pretty cool. I've seen them before. They are the nicest SKSs I've seen. So that's cool. Also, Tradex has the Keltec RDB on for $1,550. So
sweet.
That's kind of cool. I'm curious about that rifle. I really want to get my hands on one because it looks interesting to me. Yes.
Caliber just did a review on one, and they found the accuracy to be like 1.5 to like 2 MOA. No, not even that bad.
No, that's decent. Yeah.
Yeah. For like a Banger 223 rifle for $1,500.
Yeah. Like
you can get better from an AR with like a really smoking barrel on it, but that's not the same thing at all, right?
No.
It's like a free float with a aftermarket barrel and all that other jazz on there. Yeah, it is really good. Yeah, I mean the Yugo SKSs are pretty unique. They got some unique features on them. Yeah, I think a unicorn would still be like one of those chromed out like guard ones, right? The honor guard ones.
I guess it's a bit. The holy grail is in the eye of the beholder. Like I would much rather not have a chromed out honor guard.
What about a gold plated one?
Nope. No, not interested. Not me. I'm a simple man. I like simple things.
Just want a reliable, simple Yugo SKS.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's cool. I shared that with Trevor right away, and he was angry that he was not in a position to go snap one up. So I caused Trevor some minor pain.
So you felt good about it, right?
Yeah.
You tempted Trevor with an $800 SKS.
To be fair, at the time I didn't know the price.
Well, this is like a phrase that I don't think you could have said a year ago. You couldn't have been like, "Hey, Trevor, I got an SKS here for $800. You into that?" And I don't think the response would have been like, "Oh, baby, I wish I could."
However, it's now June in 2018, and that's where things are at now. The world is a bit
different Trevor now.
Yeah,
we have a Trevor that shoots 1911s and SKSs.
Exactly. Yes, it's kind of bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. All right. What's this next one? Wolverine is selling 858 receivers.
858
for $100. $99.
No barrel, no parts included. Limited quantity.
Sold as is, no returns. That's because they believe these are going to go prohib. So if you want a cheap ticket to prohib land and get that classification, they are selling your ticket. It's not good for much else. But
I wonder, they said, well, supplies lost. I wonder how many they have in stock.
So I bet what they did was they took all their stuff and they put them on the Kodiak receivers.
Yeah,
and boom, not restricted. and now they had a bunch of those ones left over. So sell them for $100 a pop. Who wants a ticket to a Pro Hib, right?
Yep.
The next one here, High Cal is bringing in some Pro Mag 70 round drums for the 795 and 597s. That's a lot of ammo.
Yep.
That'd be a heavy mag. I've heard good and mixed reviews on the Pro Mags. I've heard some people like really like them. Whose Pro Mag did I shoot? Jason Philp had a Pro Mag, I believe, for his 795. Yeah, I think that was a stick one. But if you really feel like you need a lot more ammo, High Cal's got some of the 70 rounders coming in. And then this last one, I Run Guns, is bringing in some CMP M1 Grands.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know. I thought you had to like do something in the States, like go shoot a shooting course, and then you got access to buy one.
Yes. So you have to go down there and you have to go and shoot a shooting, or so like an Appleseed qualifies for this.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the fact that you're Canadian, we couldn't actually do this. They wouldn't sell to Canadians.
But
however,
they sell to I Run Guns, and then they
will sell
run
to
the
I
gun.
Run Guns, and then they. So I don't know why they're selling to I Run Guns.
You'd think the name would be the first tip, right?
No, because of the fact that part of CMP is that you have to have taken a course that, or
yeah.
So
no, I'm saying CMP, like they should have been tipped off, like, oh, we're selling to this fellow I Run Guns. What do you think he's going to do with these?
He's going to run the guns.
He's going to run them. Yep. No, those are really cool. Tradex also has a whole pile of M1 Garands available if you're looking for some. So they've got some on their website, and a whole pile of them.
Own a piece of history.
I'm going to show this real quick just before we go on here, but
they only have okay. So
there we go.
$1,500.
There's Dave's. There's Dave's rifle with the correct Canadian buttstock on it now.
Thanks, Dave.
So now you know. Yeah, $1,500.
Yeah.
Brian's all over that. Brian loves that Canadian flag there.
You know, I don't mind it. I really don't.
You don't hate it?
No, I don't hate it as much as I think I should. Now, the idea of just putting together a gun based on how it looks, that bugs me, but that's just me. Whatever. I have different.
You have to color coordinate and match the vendors and get the Fortis handguard with the Fortis hand stop.
Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff. I really don't.
Neither do I. My AR-15 is like the worst Frankenstein ever. I don't think two major sub-assemblies are from the same vendor on it.
Yeah, I think mine's kind of the same.
So Greg is asking how much for the M1 Grand. It's $1,500.
US.
Yeah.
What's the conversion rate right now?
I don't know.
30%? Something like that?
How many pesos? How many Canadian pesos to the US dollar?
Anyway.
$1,500.
You know what? It's a lot for an M1 Grand.
Well, no, that's based on what they're
in US.
They're really high in price. It's kind of crazy. I think they're generally overpriced, but that's where the market sits. So,
yeah,
anyways, never mind. I'll just shut up.
I would agree to the overpriced. All right, why don't we get on to the main
topic?
I
thought you were agreeing to her shutting up.
That's why I added on the last bit.
It was funnier before you add at the end. That's all good.
So why don't we head into the lightning round of questions? Yeah, I'll be the interviewer, and I'll ask you
to. You gotta answer too.
Okay, why don't we cycle? It'll be me, then Brian, then Kelly. Sure. For our cycling, I'll start with the first question you guys answer.
Okay.
Cool?
Yep.
Brian, 308 or 30-06?
308.
Kelly?
308.
All right. Brian, you're up next.
Okay. How many 5-year-olds could you beat in a fight?
Who are you asking first?
Adriel.
Me?
Adriel. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm thinking hundreds. I could do that all day long.
Me? Me next?
Yeah. Well, you're the yes.
Okay. Well, I was waiting for you to say Kelly, but I wouldn't have to fight them because we'd all have ice cream.
Oh, lame.
I know.
Yeah. That's such a
Would you
cop out.
poison the ice cream?
Oh God. You're mean.
Too dark.
5-year-olds. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of
Really
leaning
all
with.
over again.
I'm leaning with Adriel. Because
Hundreds?
5-year-olds don't have like any stamina. You
No,
smack them once and they cry and they want their mom.
And
They
they
just
don't have any
crumple.
attention span.
They do.
either,
They do.
right?
Well, there's that. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd probably tire out after a few hundred. Like that's the only thing that's going to slow me down. Like I could say thousands, I'll probably get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a great question. I'm so glad this got thrown out there.
So,
All right, Kelly, go ahead with the next question, please.
all right. What gun will you never sell? Adriel.
My grandma's 22, and that's the only gun
Aw.
I'll never sell.
All right.
My Demaco.
Oh, Brian, can I have a bite of your sandwich?
Kelly needs you cannot. Kelly needs to answer the question too.
The Deutsche Werk Model 1. And the reason is because of the history behind it. That's it.
There you go.
Okay.
Brian, can I now have a bite of your sandwich?
Hell no.
Oh man.
Oh, what
We
type
don't
of
share
sandwich is
anything.
it though?
Well, I don't even eat sandwiches, so no.
Well, I know.
That's
That's
why.
why I
Doesn't even
said.
have sandwiches. Kelly, can I have a bite of your sandwich?
Sure.
Oh, there we go.
And the reason is because I love you, Adriel. You're my favorite.
There we go. Favorite host
So
ever.
are you into sharing bites of your sandwich with us, Adriel?
Yes. Yes.
And what type of
Wow.
sandwich is it?
I'm calling BS.
Oh,
Steak.
mine is going to be just like it's going to be terrible. It's just be like some lazily slapped together whatever meat was in the fridge, probably some moldy bread or whatever. I had it hanging around and I made the sandwich.
You had one of those Dagwood sandwiches that Homer Simpson had that he had for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't want a
Yeah.
bite of your sandwich.
Oh, well, you asked though. So
I know.
Okay, I think I'm next. Adriel, what cartridge doesn't deserve to be so popular?
300 Win Mag.
Yeah. 300 would make as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty much any Magnum hunting cartridge.
Well, no, 7mm Rem Mag is way better. It's
Maybe.
less
It's
kick,
still-
flatter.
Doesn't need there's no need. Anyway.
They both have belts. What kind of cartridge needs a belt?
It's an old system.
Yeah.
It's not
Yep.
it's
Yep.
obsolete. Yeah. No.
All right. Who's up next for
You're-
asking?
you're
I
asking.
will. Which bear is the best bear, Adriel?
Kodiak.
Okay.
Polar.
Aw,
Mm,
polar
Carry
bear.
on. Yeah, carry on.
I think it's a teddy bear.
See, I knew you were gonna go there. I knew you were gonna go there. Just no.
No. All right.
My question. Brian, what was your first gun?
Technically, it's not legally a firearm, but my Diana pellet rifle.
Oh.
First one I bought.
Yeah.
So
Mine was the Rock Island Armories. It was a 1022 replica. It was horrible.
Cool. I had some break action pellet gun when I was 5. I have no idea what
Aw.
make it was. I don't know where it is. It's probably toast.
wow, we're similar, except I got mine when I was like 25, and it's in my gun cabinet behind me. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Kelly, I'm asking you this one. How much can you bench press?
Now or when I was working out every day?
Whatever number you would like to.
I have no idea. I can bench press a brine. How's that?
A Brian, really?
Ooh, impressive.
Sheets. It's-
This is not going anywhere good.
I can
Hi,
bench
Brian.
press my wife.
Oh, that's good.
I think.
Brian?
I haven't tried it.
I
think
honestly, I have no clue. I don't do bench press, so I have no idea.
You don't lift, bro?
I do, but I don't bench press. So
All
yeah,
about those
I don't know.
gains.
And probably the number is smaller than I would imagine. And I just
You
no.
just don't want to go
I'm
there.
not.
because-
I am not. Yeah, super huge power lifter, strong guy. That's just not me.
Oh, by the way, congratulations on your new bike. Just thought I'd-
Oh yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of not having time to do stuff, now I'm getting out mountain biking too. So, jeez.
Awesome. All right. So, which gauge is the best gauge, Adriel?
12.
All right, Brian.
I think actually 16, but it's so unpopular it becomes impractical. So 12.
Okay, 20 gauge. I like 20 gauge because it's great for kids as well.
That's
Just
neat.
saying. Yeah.
It's a good gauge. It's
It's-
my second choice in gauges. My least favorite gauge is 410.
I was just
It's
gonna
not even a
ask.
gauge.
Not really. It's not.
They don't even know how to gauge
But-
right.
I know. Like, could they not be consistent? No,
Well-
apparently not.
Just throw something in. Yeah. Anyways.
The entire idea of gauge. How many lead balls of this size would it take to make 1 pound? It's like, what were you guys smoking? Lead fumes to come up with this system.
So this came from probably England, right?
It did.
England is the source
had
of all these
people.
wacky.
People of this intellect had an empire that spanned the globe. Yeah,
Yeah, but yes, but they were using lead, right? Lead poisoning. Anyways,
Anyway,
Yeah.
you're right.
Measure everything in lead. How much of this can you eat?
I'm not-
That's
What,
the
what I
gauge
want to
now.
know is who cast a bunch of lead balls at varying diameters and then weighed them to figure out how many it would take to make up a pound. Like, it's just
anal retentive people.
ugh.
And then they would get to like, this pellet is a number 8, and this is a number 4, and this is a B.
There's no logic to shotguns at all.
Well,
There's-
guns in general, like all the calibers, are kind of a little bit weird.
Well, no, because we've got bore diameters that measure cartridge cases, and then in metric, it's the
Do
bore,
we?
the bullet diameter, and then the case.
357 and 38. Are those different bore diameters? What about 9mm? Is
Okay,
that the same?
They well, anyway, at least it's based on something. It's not based on how many lead balls add up to a pound of this diameter.
Yeah. Could be
It's
like
ba-
30 caliber, and we made it in 06. And then there's 300, and there's 30 TCM, and it's a mess.
Yep.
It's a mess.
It's like, yeah.
Speaking of a mess, have you ever had a dream that you had you could, you'll do, you want, you could do so, you'll do, you could, you want them to do you so much you could do anything?
What? Can you read that again,
How do you
please?
guys
reading
get
it.
that
I'm
reference?
reading the notes, and no.
That's the little kid who's getting interviewed, and he goes like, that's the quote. I typed it out. That's the quote from that kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, listeners, if anyone wants to message me on Facebook to say what the heck Adriel's talking about, I have no clue, but I don't want to ask him because
So-
I'm afraid he'll tell me.
Brian, have you ever had a dream that you could do anything that you want? What was the
Nope.
dream?
I didn't. I didn't. I very rarely remember my dreams. So yeah,
Just doesn't want to talk about them. You just don't want to open up.
Yep.
exactly.
Hearing
There's-
issues.
This is a podcast. This is not a therapy session. This is
There's
not-
people you could talk to, but not.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I'm gonna pay people who will be quiet about it. I'm not gonna talk about it on a podcast.
I was dreaming that I could ride a mechanical bull at a 3. Anyways, never mind.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was excellent. I have to do it. I have to make it a reality.
Yeah,
If you build it, they will come.
They will. It'll be like
You-
the awesomest thing in
Adriel,
Alberta
you know,
ever. You'll be like
you
a
would s-
god.
You would sign up for that for sure.
Oh yeah. If someone said like, there's a 3-gun match, we got a mechanical bull, you're gonna shoot off the back. It's like, I don't care. Take my money. Where do I put my money to get into this match?
Yeah.
Asking a lightning round of questions.
All right.
That's it.
That's it. Are any of you guys watching the YouTube version for questions?
I'm just looking at it
I
right
am.
now.
Philippe,
Yay.
And I'm
he's
not,
a long-time listener, first-time watcher. I don't know. And he says, "Thanks for keeping the show going." Oh, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Yes, we're keeping the show going. Anyways, yes, we are. Yeah,
or
there's
we're
not-
sorry for keeping the show
Yes.
going.
but there's not really been any. They've been talking amongst themselves. But
listen, we keep the show going, but it's up to them to listen. So it's
Right.
their fault they're listening. So that's it.
We have a lot of listeners. I was looking at the metrics. So hi everybody. Or hello.
Yeah, in the last couple of months, it's really increased.
I wonder, that's which is beyond comprehension considering the changes in the show in the last couple of months. I don't understand.
Maybe just podcasts are getting more popular, because I was talking with the guys at that match, and they're like, "Yeah, we listen to the 3 Gun Show, we listen to you guys, we listen to this, we listen to that." So maybe it's like,
awesome.
yeah, maybe it's just people are getting off of radio, and they're like, "Why would I listen to some radio jockey talk about the local weather or something when I could be listening to guys talk about Canadian guns or 3 Gun or something that I'm interested in?" Right?
Yeah. But I think Brian's referring to the fact that he's been on for the past few months.
No, that wasn't
it. Yeah, it was.
Is there a halo? Do I have a halo here? Anyway, let's get on to listener feedback.
Okay, host.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Can't even do this job. All right, let's see here. Listener feedback is sponsored by Highlander Tactical. Go to highlandertactical.com to check out the great supply of both outside and inside the waistband holsters today. Use promo code SLAMFIRE to check out to save 10% on your order. So if you want like a Kydex holster, that's the place to go. They got a whole bunch of different guns that they'll make them for. Left, right, mostly right.
Mostly
right. Yeah.
He doesn't really like lefties, but he'll do it for you.
You know what? I don't know if it's lefties or me that he's got issues. But anyway.
So he was at the AGM as well. So
good for him. I'm so glad he was at the AGM instead of making my holster.
That's exactly what he'd say. I said I was going to post it, and he says, "I keep getting these texts from people and emails. Why are you there? Why aren't you making my holster?"
Can you make it while you're waiting?
You can have a life after my holster is shipped. That's
all right.
Cool. All right. First listener feedback from Jonathan H. Hello, Slamfire. I'm fairly new to the podcast, only listening to it for a few months after stumbling upon it while searching through Stitcher for gun-based podcasts. I've been enjoying the catalog thoroughly as I work my way through it in reverse chronological order. Ooh, that must be weird. Listening to the de-evolution of the show is quite interesting.
You can probably get that listening to it in chronological order too.
It works. It's uphill both ways.
I don't know. Has it gotten better? No.
No, uphill's bad. That's the one that takes more effort. Yeah.
Anyway.
Just like the show takes more effort to listen to. Anyways, while listening, I have heard mention of mailing restricted firearms instead of flying or traveling with them. I might be in a situation soon where mailing my restricted firearms home from a match would better suit my travel plans. If anyone is in this week with experience in doing so, listening to the pros and cons on the topic would be interesting. Do you require a short-term ATT to mail them? Anything special that needs to take place, or can you just lock them up, package them, and put a stamp on it and drop it off the post office? Anyways, thanks for producing some thoroughly entertaining and informative content, Jonathan H. Any of you guys mailed a restricted firearm recently?
Not recently,
April
but
has?
I have in the past.
Yes.
I do them all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I know this because he mailed me one.
Yes, you do need an ATT technically to take something to the post office.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the process will be okay. If you're going to transfer it to someone, you're going to do that bit first and get the notice to transfer, and then you're going to get your ATT, and then you're going to go home and you're going to take that pistol and you're going to put a trigger lock on it, like just one of those little like plastic doohickey ones. The 2 dots in the metal part will do. You're going to put it in a box. I like to lock the box or zip tie it just to secure it against anyone like opening it up and taking a look at what's inside. And then typically what I'll do is put a box on it, or I'll wrap it or something so you can't see that it's a firearm. And then with your ATT in hand that says I can take this to the post office, you bring it to the post office, get the shipping option that has signature required, and good to go.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. And yes, this is cheaper than flying with them typically, because flying with them, depending on the airline, might cost you $50, $100 kind of a thing. So the $30 to ship it is usually cheaper.
And so just make sure that you get as you said, the ATT if you're going to be transferring it to somebody, if somebody's going to be picking it up. Or
now, if you're mailing it to yourself and you know it's a gun, do you have to get the ATT from the post office to your house? I've heard like, okay, so you get mailed a pistol and you're like, I'm going to the post office for a package. Oh, I don't know what this is. And you take it home and it's like, it's a gun. Can you like claim the same ignorance when you're mailing it to yourself? Do you need an ATT from the post office home? I don't know. I've never mailed myself a restricted firearm. I've always mailed it to someone, or one shows up at my house.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I don't know either. You could just like wrap it like the night before, wrap it when you're really blasted, and then give it to your friend, and then you mail it, and you're like, "What is this? What is this thing? Who mailed me this?"
Okay, we're not actually going to advocate drinking and handling firearms. That's not how we do things here.
What about wrapping? Drunk wrapping the package.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because, they have to be in a safe condition when you wrap them and all that stuff. So I'm just going to say maybe if the booze is out, the guns are away. Separate the two.
It's a good question. You should call the CFO and see if you need. Never mind.
If you can be drunk with a gun, or if you can.
If you're mailing
Say I'm
it
really
to
blasted when I wrap this thing. I have no idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
C42 doesn't cover post offices.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
Probably it would come up when you apply for the ATT to say, "Hey, I'm traveling and I'm going to ship myself this gun at the same time." You would think that there'd be something that the given CFO office would ask you about that. I don't.
Maybe you can get it on the same ATT.
Oh,
yeah, maybe. Now here's another question, because somebody who receives it has to have an RPAL. So if you're shipping it to yourself, like say I was going to an event in northern New Brunswick, and then I wanted to ship my guns home because I was going to keep going to visit my family in Nova Scotia. That wouldn't really work because no, I'm not going to the church. But like say I wouldn't be back at my home before the package got there. So I don't know if that would be kind of hanky.
What happens if your wife picks it up?
Well,
she just doesn't know what it is. I don't know what this is. I guess Brian bought something and signs for it. And takes it home.
I don't know. It's all kind of sketchy there. You'd have to I don't know all the answers. These are just questions that come to mind. I'd never considered this question before, but I think technically, yes, you can ship yourself the gun to save you the hassle at the airport.
So weird. Such a weird set of rules that we have here. All these weird cases where it's like, I don't know. Anyways, I hope we've thoroughly confused you, Jonathan. If you'd like to,
sorry.
If you'd like to email the show and get confusing answers, feel free to email us at slamfireradio@gmail.com. Shoutouts. Do you guys have any shoutouts?
Yo. Brian?
Give me a second. No, I don't.
Kelly?
I'll go first. I'm going to give a shout out to Trevor because he was my bodyguard, my protector on the weekend. He was apparently protecting me from everybody. I don't know. I was only allowed to have hugs for a certain amount of time.
How much Glenlivet did Trevor get?
There was a lot.
It's a silly question. It's rhetorical, really.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. I got a shout out to Ian for offering his M17 for loan. This is it's a sweet gun, and it's finished on. It's impeccable. I asked him, I'm like, "Have you shot this thing?" He's like, "Yeah, I've shot it," and it looks phenomenal.
Brand new.
So,
yeah,
it looks like it, but he's saying apparently it wasn't. So very interesting, and thank you very much, Brian.
Okay, Michael Bartlett, your package will be shipped tomorrow. And Jamie Elliott, thank you so much for lending Trevor your phone on the weekend. That was
was awesome, eh?
Yeah. It was something. It's great. Really appreciate that.
Awesome. iTunes reviews, we don't have any this week.
Nope.
Patreon supporters, we have a couple of new ones. We've got Ryan W at 223, Harold at 762, and Tim A at 123. What's 123? 1.23? 123? It's not a caliber though. 177 the caliber.
It's 123.
Okay. Well, 123 is still the number.
Tim's being different, which is awesome.
Yep. Patreon supporters, we will, Ryan, Harold, Tim, make sure you've emailed the show. And once a month, I get out patches and stickers in the mail. So we'll get those out to you. And some of you guys will also be getting a shirt in the mail as well. So I think I've got sizes for most everyone. And now I just have to go to the post office and be like, yo, how do I mail these things like cheap? How do I get these things out to people? So I'll figure that out, and I'll start putting some shirts in the mail. If you'd like to help support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/slamfireradio, or just go to slamfireradio.com, and there's a button on there somewhere where you can get to the Patreon.
Okay.
Please join one or more of our national firearms associations, such as the CCFR, the CSSA. Check us out on the Gun Owners of Canada. Like us on Facebook. That's where a lot of our conversations and shenanigans happen as well. And finally, get out there and shoot a 3-gun match. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.